Today we talk about professional self-worth.
Hi everyone, welcome to our podcast Back in the Game, where we talk about how the life of women changes after they become mothers in terms of careers, confidence, and productivity.
Hello everyone, Assalamu alaikum, I'm Dania Hamdan. I write articles about parenting, parenthood, education, motherhood on B.
And I'm Raquel Lisboa, self-development specialist with focus in mothers who want to get back to their careers, strengthen their self-confidence, and be more productive without guilt.
So Raquel, let's talk about career today.
Yes.
So, why does Excel expert is worthy to be put in a CV while before breakfast manager it feels like oversharing?
Yes, that is so nice. Yeah, I like that question. Well, the way I see is that motherhood, it's like an MBA of life that it's not credited. We learn so many skills in motherhood, time management, project management, crisis management, stress management, leadership, and so on. So many things, but there is no credit for that. And not that we are expecting to be credited or recognized by that, but there is so much behind the whole motherhood that it just feels like, yeah, you're doing this MBA for life, but no credibility is given to it, So I think it's really time for us to own all these skills and make use of all that.
Related to this, what you've just said, let's get into the core of our topic. So, why do moms struggle to own their achievements?
Yeah. Well, the way I see it here is there is a very strong culture in the society that it normalizes everything that we do as mothers. Yeah, first of all, people see it as we are just doing nothing special. We just mother doing what it has to be done. Somehow it is true because this is our new responsibility and we have to do it what it requires. So it's part of the job. But we still need to see the value in it, So we struggle because the whole society is trying to tell us many times that you're not doing anything special, you're just doing what you have to do, But even if you are doing what you have to do, you have to see the value and the weight on those skills that you practice during motherhood. And it just comes to my mind one example. We live in Germany, right? So for the people who doesn't know, we live in Germany, and maybe people who has never been in Germany or has never taken a flight from Germany wouldn't know that there is a kind of a ritual that people does when a plane lands in the airport. I didn't know that until I came to Germany, but when the plane lands and we see that we are safe, everybody claps, right? And everybody claps for to appreciate the job that the pilot did to keep us all safe. He's being appreciated by that, which I find it's interesting. But if you think he's doing his job, he's doing what he's required to do it, but still the people are seeing the value in it.
Yes, if he saved
yes, if he saved the world, exactly,
because they were in the air before and then we did, yes, thank you.
We are all alive. Yes, exactly. Which is okay, nice and interesting, but why is it done only for that profession? I think it's because it really relates to the life, and keeping ourselves safe from dying.
Yes.
Yeah.
But actually, it's also what the mom does, if we need to put it on those terms. Like, she feeds you, she changes your diaper if you're very young. You basically depend on her.
Yeah.
So we all should clap our hands at the end of the day, like, yes,
exactly.
She made us survive.
Yes, absolutely. And that's why I brought this story, because it's very similar. Basically, the job of the mother is keeping her kids safe and alive every single day of her life. for the entire day. She's doing that, you know. And the thing is, it's, as I said, it's not that we will be in this position of expecting everybody to clap for us or to recognize us, which would be also nice, but it's not, it's more about us seeing that, you know, like the job that we are doing as a mother, it's a huge thing, you know.
There are actually a lot of moms that feel, especially during the first year after the pregnancy, that they don't feel like they're doing anything. Like maybe they stopped working at the moment. Some moms also, they find it difficult to recover after the like during the postpartum. Some people have postpartum depression.
And also, like as you said, many of us, and for some time I also thought that, you know, I'm stuck and I'm not learning anything, I'm not working for all this time, and I'm a person who likes to learn and study and work, and then I see myself for so many years away from that, you know. But and then after I realized that actually I may not be working for a company, or I may not be learning in a course or something, but the inner work that it's being done, I think nothing can compete with this, you know. If I wouldn't say nothing, but nearly nothing can compete with this. So there are a lot of learnings and development and growth that it's happening during this period, you know, just by doing all this. And I don't like to use this just, because it's not just. We know how much effort and how much we do to keep our kids safe, alive, and also to educate them. So we should see all these skills as something really valuable, and like take the ownership of all this.
And remind ourselves that we are basically building the future adults, a future society. It starts from here.
For sure.
You know,
it's a big responsibility.
Those people that are going to work in the companies, maybe, or they're going to have their business, or they're going to do whatever they would like to do in their lives. It starts from this.
Yeah, exactly. And if we think even wider, it's the people who one day will be a wife, one day will be a husband, one day will be the boss of many people, you know. So what are you doing now, you know, it will impact in a very high level the future in so many aspects, like career, relationships, and society in general. So let's give the proper value to that, you know. Us as mother, looking to us, to ourselves. And also I would do again another invitation, as I did in the last episode, in the episode 3, the invitation to other people who are not mothers, who are like, even they are men, like, see the value in it, you know. Don't see as something under the other people. Don't underestimate, because there is a lot of value behind the duty of a mother.
Why does guilt sabotage our careers?
So basically, this also has something to do with that perfect mom myth that we spoke about it, I believe, in the episode 1 or 2. That we want to be this perfect mother, that it's the perfect professional, the perfect whatever, and perfect in all the aspects, you know, and perfect in our own way of perfection, what we create in our mind, right? Because again, I will repeat this a million times here in this podcast, because I think that's what we have to set us free from the perfection syndrome, let's say, you know, from this idea of perfection. So we have kids now, so we have to understand that some days you won't be able to be as much productive as you used to be. Maybe there will be days that you won't be able to show up in the office because your kid is sick or something. And I've seen many times that a mother who was not able to go to work because her kid was sick, and she canceled a meeting, or she called sick that day because her kid was sick. And then she felt so guilty that she she offers to compensate that time that she was not in the office, to compensate overnight and work overnight because she wasn't there during the day. But and then, I mean, what is the priority here? It's your kid and the health of the kid also. And then also the work, I mean, it's her right within the contract and everything. She has the right to not be there in certain companies. Of course, probably that wouldn't apply to everyone, but in general, that would be. So we feel guilty because we don't want to compromise that thing at all costs, and we still need to do what we need to do as mothers, but it should be a balance there, so you can't do it all. And it's important also to be in, how do I say, probably in good terms with your team, or in synchronized with your team, to see what it can be done in these kind of situations. But everyone falls sick at one day, either you or your kid or the other. So we should make peace with that, and set priorities.
Yeah, we should give to everything its own space.
Yes.
When it's time or the space is for the child, it's for the child.
Yeah.
When it's for work, it's for work. If the child's sick, it means that it needs more space.
Yes, of course. Yeah, it's very important to recognize that and give the proper space for everything, and not to try to overdo everything also, because at one point and then we break it.
But I think it's also the way they make us feel work.
Yeah.
Like, because if you sometimes they make, there is this how can I call it, not opinion, but this idea in the air that if you don't work in a company or in something, you're insignificant. Almost. If you're only a mom, or you only spend time with your children or in the house, then it's like you don't exist.
Exactly.
So that's also the problem. That's why maybe this woman felt like compensating during the night, because it was as if maybe she did not do anything if she only took care of her child on that day.
And that's what I say about like the whole society. There is always the impact on how society thinks and how we think based on that, because it's true. Like, we think many times people sees the job as a stay-at-home mother as nothing, and then she puts pressure on herself that she has to do it. She has to work in a company. She has to do it all, so it's an inner pressure. And this inner pressure, it's fed also by others. So that's how I believe we have to make our mindset strong to resist to these things. Because as there is even a philosopher that says that, I believe his name, I forgot, but I will remember afterwards, that the only thing that we have the control, it's our mind, so we don't have the control of the society, unfortunately, or fortunately, because but we don't have the control of the others or the society, but we have the control of our mind. So what can we do then? Then it's making our mindset stronger. It's making our self-confidence stronger, and actually being convinced that whatever I choose, it's either I work in a corporate life, or I work at home, or I have my own business, or I don't have any of this business, but I am a stay-at-home mom, the value I have, and the work that I actually put on that. Because also the stay-at-home mother, she's a cooker, she's sometimes a driver, she's sometimes how do you say, like the lady who cleans the house, the housekeeper, she's the time manager. She still have to show up in her relationship, she still have to show up in her other parts of life. So like she actually does many job positions in one.
You don't just have one task to do, not only Excel.
And you don't have a time that you do that from 9 to 5. You do that the whole day.
You reminded me of a woman. Maybe I will tell you more details later, because I don't remember exactly the whole story. But this woman used to work in a big company. She used to earn a lot of money, but she did not like it. She was also married, but she did not like it. So one day she was like, you know what? I stop working. I don't want to work anymore. I just want to be a homemaker.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
She started to be a homemaker, and eventually she loved it so much that she started to make courses about how to be a good homemaker. You know, because she has. I mean, apparently she had this love of building your home, your environment, to have a family that is in harmony, you know, with one another. I mean, it was maybe her real passion to do it, and she started to make courses to help people to build a good environment at home, you know.
That's great.
Because you found your, let's say, your vocation,
your call,
maybe,
your vocation. Yeah, true.
And so that's why being a homemaker, even only staying at home, is not how can I say, it's not insignificant as
not
we
at
think.
all.
It's
nothing small, nothing bad, you know, nothing without value. So yeah, this is amazing, and actually reminds me a little bit of my own story, because then when I had my children, the age difference between them, it's only 1.5 years, right? So the first years were really hard, especially because was still in the COVID time. We don't have family around. We live in a foreign country. We don't have the friends couldn't come to help us, and because of the lockdown, my mom or my mother-in-law in that time couldn't come and help. So basically we were by ourselves. And at the time when things got a little better, my husband at that time, he went back to work, and I needed to manage this whole thing by myself. And I needed to master productivity skills, you know, and that's how I improved this side of my work. And people started to ask me, how do you deal with all this, and how do you manage to do it all? And that's how I learned how to be better in my time management, how to prioritize things, because that was my reality. And then now I use those skills to teach other people.
Then what is one skill that we learn in the experience of motherhood that can be put in terms of career capital?
Well, it's difficult to choose only one. But I would say managing logistics, you know, because, and then imagine if you have 3 kids and then you have 3 different schools, and you don't even have your car, you go by Uber, let's say. And then how do you do this whole logistic, or dropping one there, dropping the other one here? And then in the middle of the day, one of your kids needs to go to the therapy. So you need to go back to one school, take him to the therapy, and then bring him back, and then go and carry on with your life. So, and then in the afternoon, you have to pick them all up. And then one has to go to the doctor, the other one has to go to a swimming class and all. So I think that it's a very good example of how to manage the logistics, you know. And I believe this can really be included in your CV, you know, like that you deal well with this whole logistics things, you know. And can I give you another example?
Of course.
Another...
We will update our CV.
Yes, based on that. Yes, go straight to your LinkedIn and update. And the other, I would say, if you if you are a single mother, you don't have the contribution of your ex-husband, and then you have to manage this whole family, you and your kids, with only one income. That's really sometimes magic, basically, what you do. So this is also a good way of learning how to deal with budgets, short budgets, and making magic out of that, you know, and really checking different prices and checking different prices, and checking what it's better from one place or to the other, and tend to make use of that. Sorry, it just comes so much to my mind, but I'm gonna say them because maybe people will really use that. The other two, I would say, it's conflict management and negotiation skills. And considering having kids, especially if you have more than one kid, they fight all the time. And you have to manage that situation, those conflicts, those stress, and and also in the same position or in other situations, you will need to use your negotiation skills, which, by the way, in my personal case, I didn't have it before I had kids. I was terrible in negotiation. I think I didn't really have it at all. But after I had kids, I improved that. Really, I improved so much, like to negotiate and then, okay, guys, let's talk, let's find a solution, let's see what can we do, and for you, and let's find a way from here. So that's, like improvement, even in my personal experience. So see, like there are so many things that we learn in this motherhood journey that it can be added easily in your CV. Even I think you can easily put in the CV, but also in your interview, mention those things, really
don't be shy to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
And don't belittle them, or underestimate them.
Yeah, because there are probabilities that maybe, I would say maybe, that you even master those skills much better than someone who did the course. I would say maybe, because the others, they have the knowledge in the technical knowledge, went through a course. But when you put things into practice, when you actually deal with the situation, putting those things like really in real life, that is a different thing.
Well, of course, both the theory and the practice are important.
There
are people, for example, in your case, that learned it the hard way. Okay?
Yes.
So you were put in the situation, and you had to have this deep practice of, for example, negotiation skills, because you could not escape from it. Also, you have to learn it. No? And then, yes, of course, also those who learn, for example, in courses and so on, and we all are at the end always learning, in courses and theory and so on. And but I realized it also after I finished university, that I had a lot of knowledge in theory. When you had to put it in practice, you doubt yourself a lot. Like, do I really know this thing? Yeah, because you need to practice.
Of course.
It's part of the process.
That's how you learn. Yeah, and it's again comes to that thing, as we already spoke many times. It's the repetition. So it's there, all the time. Practice repeating that, then you become good, like better and better at it.
So we said what we should add to our CV.
Yes.
No? But what is the first line that we should actually delete from our LinkedIn?
Great. Okay. So I believe you should delete this statement that says, I'm ready to start over. So I'm ready to restart, basically. Because you didn't pause, you didn't stop. You just developed and you leveled up, So remove that and add your skills. That's it.
Yeah, because some people are maybe afraid of leaving their CVs with these 2 years or 3 years of emptiness,
Yes.
So and in some companies they want explanations, like why
what
did
happened.
you?
But then I would give you an extra advice. Let's say delete that, add the new skills, the things that we already spoke about it. But also, if you don't want to leave this gap, just not to be the first impact of people seeing it. Nowadays, we have so much technology and accessibility to so many kind of courses, online courses, that you don't even need to leave your home. So maybe do 1-2 courses within this time that you are not with your kids, or your kids are sleeping. Do something like that, to maybe also for you to start practicing the active learning again, or get updated about what is going on in the market. So maybe it's a way also, like, to add something new. So then they can see, okay, like she's going through like some new updates in her professional life. And I believe this should be fine.
This also has to do with perfectionism, by the way, because, for example, when I became a mother, I also kind of stopped doing certain things or doing certain work, jobs and so on, which I don't think it was wrong to stop these things.
Yeah.
The thing is that I had my passions, for example, writing a blog and so on, and I never started it.
Okay.
Because one thinks that because we're so much into this mentality of work, the way they mean work, you know,
Yes.
that
Yes.
if I can't do it that way, I don't start doing
Yes.
it, you know. While actually, as a mom, or as even someone who is very busy with something else, you can still, how can I say, you can still nurture your passions. For example, in my case, writing. I don't have to have from the beginning, necessarily from the beginning, the super website that is done like this. And for example, I used to make landing pages, and so I know how the things work with that. But as a mom, maybe I can't, especially in the beginning, you can't spend this much time in making landing pages and so on. So eventually, although now by hand is almost 2 years, but eventually I just opened a very simple blog, you know, and it made a huge difference in me, in feeling, how can I say, in feeling connected to myself. And I feel that it's not, how can I say, it's not like work from that way of thinking of work. But if you think about it, in a way, it is work because you're spending some time, and writing is
a work.
It is a work, yes. And I used to, and I am still a copywriter, so I know what work with working with words means, you know. But yeah, when I mean, I'm doing it. I'm talking about topics that I'm interested in, that I have passion about, and you are building something. You're progressing in something, and you're learning something because maybe you get I don't know, intrigued about a topic. For example, I don't know why children cry. Okay. I don't know, why do they cry? They cry. Anyway, but you make a small research and you say, oh yeah, it makes sense. Let me check also this other thing about children who cry. Are there many kinds of crying, maybe for different reasons? How to understand this, if it's because of this or because of that? And by step, you increase the knowledge that you have about the topic, and you are. I'm also following a course now about child psychology, for example. You build your knowledge, but you need to start without being so perfectionist. You know, you start with a small blog, for example. That was my case with a small blog. Then you get interested about a topic, because in my case, when I write, I also discover some parts of myself and things that might be interesting for me. Then I find a course about this. I follow the course. But yeah, you are following your passion. You're building something related to it. And you are actually working at the end, you know?
And I think like it's about two things here. Something that I even said before, that do what you can with what you have within your possibilities, you know. And the other thing is trying to find things that it really fits into your new life, you know. And that's what I did when Ayan, my first son, was he was a very small baby, you know. And then I do courses after he sleeps, you know. So, and then in that time I had some clients also from some coaches, and so I adjusted to my new reality, you know. So this is a different kind of job I do from home. I do in this unusual time of the day that nobody's working, you know, but it's what it's working for me. So I think it doesn't necessarily needs to be following just this like standard of how we should work, and it has to be from 9 to 5. It has to be in person in the office, and it has to be for a company. It doesn't have to be like this for everyone. And in the other hand, also, like, I have friends who tried to be a housewife, for example, and it really didn't work out for them. then they are these people who needs to be in the 9 to 5 job, go to a company and blah, blah, blah. So you really need to see, what it works for you. There is not only one standard. So you just follow your call, follow your vocation, follow your passion, and see what is the setup. I don't know if it can say that, but you see basically what it works for you and what makes you feel good, and that you can have this balance that we always talk about. So yeah. And once again, I end this episode alone because the daughter of Dania woke up from her nap. But this is how it is. So you're gonna find in the descriptions the link for our VIP WhatsApp group, where you can join this community and get extra insights about the topic of motherhood, career, productivity, and confidence. I'll wait for you guys there, and I see you in the next episode where we're gonna talk about guilt detox. See you, bye.